my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, before we get into our movie, welcome back, mate. Obviously, we recorded a little bit ahead, so not everyone knows, but we didn't get to chat last week. And I missed you, mate. How did you get on in Vegas?
I thought you were going to throw some football stuff at me then, Dave.
Oh, it's coming.
Really annoying me.
That's my next line of questioning, because I am fucking loving it.
Let me just talk about Vegas before I get depressed. No, honestly, it was amazing. We had such a good time. I met Matt Bates as well as one of our patrons, the Black Country vlogger, while I was over there. Met him, his dad, his wife, Jane. Really good people. Matt, absolute star man as well. We had a good drink and a chat and everything. So really pleased to finally met Matt. It's weird how you got to go to Las Vegas to meet somebody who lives about 90 miles away, Dave, but that's the world we're living in it. Matt and me have just loved Vegas, and that was one of the reasons how we come across our podcast from the vlogs I do and that. So big love sent to Matt. But yeah, amazing place. You've probably seen on the socials, Dave, but I'm a husband of the year again, Dave. You know, the full proposal, Bellagio Fountain. I've had it planned for weeks. It was 40 degrees, and what a great trip. Honestly, this is our fifth time at Vegas, and without doubt, it was my favourite. It was just a great week of just getting absolutely levered, and we won as well, which is unheard of.
Sounds like my kind of week. And obviously, husband of the year. Probably on a promise, I imagine. Go on, tell us about the whole experience, because obviously you and I chat quite a lot off podcast as well. So you've been planning this whole thing for a while, and obviously Sam had no idea. So tell me how it all went down.
Well, it's been going on for a few weeks. Literally nearly ruined it because I'd done my hip about a week before we were going for some reason, doing yoga day, which, you know, I love to do it every day. And for some reason, my hip, and I'm walking around like I needed a hip replacement. So I went and bought a suit.
You're in the right place there.
Just
get one of those little scooters and then the oxygen tank, and you'll fit right in.
I'm fine. Yeah, eat a load of burgers, and that's it, fine. There's plenty of them. But I genuinely went and got a suit, thought I got away with it. And I thought, right, I'm going to put it in the suit. It's in the suit bag. It's going in the case. I'll surprise Sam on the night because we're going for this lovely meal at a place called Mon Ami Gabi, which is under the Eiffel Tower, like at Paris Hotel. So we had it all sorted for our 25th wedding anniversary. And then, like I'm in some fucking shit soap, like EastEnders at Emmerdale or something, Dave, the receipt for the suit, I then decided, because I couldn't bend down, and why I put it in the fucking bin in my bedroom. And after a couple of days of this suit being in my cupboard, and Sam wouldn't have noticed that, fucking Sam went, so what have you bought a suit for? And I went, I haven't bought a suit. You know, like Pinocchio, you know, one of them where you like, fucked it. So she went,
like the kid who's eating chocolate with chocolate.
You know, honestly, it was like that. I went, what do you mean? She went, well, if you're not going to buy a suit, you dick, don't put the fucking receipt on top of the bin. And what I'd done is I'd leant over to put it in the bin, but I took the tags off it and I fucking left it on the top. There's the fucking price. Slaters in Manchester. Fucking idiot. I watched the soaps the other week, and one of the women in the soaps put like this fucking. She was gone back on the pill because she didn't want a kid, and she put the box in the kitchen cupboard underneath the fucking towel, and he found it. Her husband, Dave, you know, one of them, and I'm like,
the old soap opera trope,
the soap opera special. You know, where you put it in the bin, and then someone goes, "Oh, I've dropped something," and find one of the. Honestly, it was ridiculous. So then I'm in full on bullshit scramble mode. So I'm in full on. Well, we're going for that meal. And Sam's like, oh, great. Well, that means I'm going to have to buy a fucking nice dress. Why have you bought a suit? It's 40 degrees in Vegas. And it was fucking 40 degrees as well in Vegas, Dave. And so I've got this full suit. There is a waistcoat. I get a black fucking shirt, but I'm not wearing a tie. I don't do so. It's like a bit of I wanted a bigger collar. So it's not John Travolta levels, but, you know, a little bit of the chest fucking. I've not got the chest there, but I've got there's a little bit going on there. I needed to shave it. But so I had it open, put this suit on and everything. And like, I didn't show Sam. I said, I'm going to wear it on the night and did it all. But obviously being in America, Dave, and you know what I'm like for fitness, fucking body dysmorphia. I'll spend 3 days, the first 3 days before the meal, eating like I'm Augustus Gloop, Dave. Everything in fucking sight. I'm having pancakes with everything. I'm having all sorts of shit. So I'm thinking, am I able to get in these fucking pants? It's ridiculous because I'm just fucking walking for miles, but it fucks in my head. But anyway, Sam's friend was coming to Vegas 2 days later. It was just by chance. Someone she used to work with had helped us like with this Virgin card. And she said, I'm there at the same time. So I messaged her and said, only met her a few weeks ago. I said, look, any chance you and your husband, Tony, can come and meet us at the Bellagio at 8:00 on the 28th, like last Saturday. And I just want to film this. I'm going to do like a proposal, like to renew our vows at the Bellagio. So she's like, yeah, no problem. In the meantime, the Formula One start doing the construction at the Bellagio fountain right at the front. So it's all blocked off. And I'm thinking, where the fuck am I going to do the proposal? So I'm thinking, do I do it at the Vegas sign? That's not really going to cut it. Where the hell am I going to do it? So I'm there looking on YouTube for different places. And then I realized that you can still see the Bellagio fountains from the other side outside the hotel, but you've got the backdrop of the Eiffel Tower. So I'm thinking, fucking perfect. That's exactly what I want the shot. So, Dave, because Sam's friend, obviously, she has some personal stuff going on, totally understands. She's like, we're going to have to cancel. I'm thinking, who the fuck am I going to get to film it? So then I'm thinking, well, I'm not having my fucking phone because my phone's my fucking life. You know, like, it's on it all the time. It's got my cards in. I'm like, there's no way I'm giving someone my phone. So Chris Phelps went full on, I'm from Old Trafford, dodgy fucker. I'm taking my works phone. So I bring my works phone, put it in my bag, put it in. I thought, well, if that goes fucking missing, I'll just, plead the fifth or something at work. I'll be able to blag it. So no one from work listens to this, Dave, so we're okay. But then I'm thinking, right, I'll blag it. And then I'm thinking, right, I've got a suit on and I've got fucking shit flicker shoes on, which I don't usually wear this sort of cape unless it's a funeral or a wedding.
Or you're at court.
Yeah, or fuck you. Right. Fuck off. You've done me there. Right. Anyway. You fucker. Right. Anyway. So, moving on. So, I'm thinking the whole fucking Old Trafford boy comes in. I need to give someone this phone. But also in my head, I'm thinking, I'm in Las Vegas and everyone's on for a scam. I need to pick somebody I can fucking chase. I'm not a fast runner, Dave. And I'm thinking, I might be fitter than I've ever been. I'm still slow as fucking glue. Like I'm running in treacle. So I'm thinking, I need to give it to somebody while also getting the proper shot that looks amazing. That's like, a fairy tale sort of proposal. So when we come out of Monami Gabby, right, there's a load of like, the mist things on and everything. And I went to this about 7:30 and they're on every 15 minutes, the fountains. So I'm thinking, I need to stall her here to have 7:45 or 8:00. And I'm thinking, she's not going to fucking stand there for 20 minutes in this heat. So at first I thought, it's gone cool. And it wasn't. It was fucking them misses we got on the fucking strip. And it's literally across the road, as you know. It was steaming and I am sweating my fucking nuts off. And I'm like, oh my God. Then we're walking to get across the road. And obviously the roads are like fucking double the size of our motorways, aren't they, to get across? The fucking fountain starts. Sam went, right, let's get across here. We only like jaywalk across the fucking traffic, right? In my suit, we're literally running. Yeah, Frogger. So running across the road. So we go across, the fountains are on, and I'm thinking, we're not going to be able to go back to these fountains. I need to do it now. And I couldn't hear what the song was. So what, like, if it's Sinatra or Elvis, and it was just, it must have been a modern song. I'd never heard it before. So then I'm eyeing up people. So Sam's taking pictures. Went, I want to get a shot of you looking over the fountains. I'll put it in the vlog as like a bit of an intro and all this. So I'm bigging it up. So she's believing that. But then I'm thinking, does she know I'm going to do it? Have I fucked up somewhere? Have I fucking, someone, have I said something? And anyway, she was none the wiser. I then looked, Dave, as I'm going, I thought, this is the spot. And I'm thinking, there's no one here. So I went to the next spot. And there was massive crowds, but there was a couple of bits that were open. It's always fate. These two little Mexican women, Dave, turned up. I didn't know they were Mexican. I thought, used to can fucking. So I come over to the older one, like obviously the mum, and I thought I can definitely catch her if she's on her toes. I went, could you take a picture? I'm just going to take a. I'm doing a proposal for my wife. Is there any chance? So this woman's like, the non comprende sort of thing, points to her daughter, and I went, and I thought, yeah, I'll definitely catch her. I went, can you have my phone and just take a picture? He's on record, this video. Can you do it, Dave? The fucking video is phenomenal. He gave me the phone back. We got a bit of a round of applause because there's a little bit of a crowd. Fucking woman disappeared. I wanted to like fucking tip her or, get her a drink or something. Never saw her again, Dave. It was fate. However, what turned into be an amazing thing still had that element of, I'm from Old Trafford, don't trust anybody. The fact that I was eyeing up somebody I could catch was pretty bad. And I told Sam afterwards, and she's like, you fucking dick. And then but loads of people have said, so where did you get to film it then? Even people we met in Vegas afterwards, who like friends of ours, they were like, you fucking trusting people, because phones are always getting whipped in the casinos because they've got them wireless chargers now and everything. And I was like, and then this guy went, that's fucking genius. The fact that you weighed up someone you thought you could fucking catch. I was like, well, I had to, and I wasn't using my own phone, so. Yeah. It was an amazing thing. And I loved the fact that we've got this shot of like me and Sam, and it wasn't for the cameras. It was somewhat special for her, because when I originally proposed, I've said this before in here, it was in Tretton Piccadilly. I got in a fucking fight because some bloke had sort of got hold of Sam afterwards, thinking she thought it was me at first, and she was dancing and he wouldn't let go of her. And I got in a fucking fight and got thrown out. So I've always regretted how I proposed. The fact that I was in a nightclub anyway with a sombrero on and fucking dickhead, you know what I mean? I did do it the next day properly, but it's me and her thinking she'd fuck me off. But I've always regretted that. And as I've got older, I thought, no, she deserves something better. So that's why this came about. But yeah, that was the highlight of the trip. Oh, and also that I headline a Vegas show, Dave, and Michael Jackson, Cirque du Soleil, and got to sing Man in the Mirror to the crowd. That was the main thing. So I can say I've headlined Vegas now.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Michael Jackson, because I'm sure he might come up again in our film. But, but I have to say the shot, I mean, the video looks great. It looks fantastic. And you know what's popped into my head? Remember when we did Kung Fu Hustle? And the guy's looking to fight someone, and then he's pointing out different people, and then they turn out they're absolutely ripped or massive or something like that. I can just imagine you trying to eye up someone. It's like, oh no, they're a bit lean. They look like they can run. No, I'll have to go on to someone else. And there you go, you'll do. But the fact that they disappeared is fantastic. I've just got this thought now that you basically got your guardian angel is a little sort of Mexican woman. But amazing story, Chris. But Chris, what are we going to review today?
Well, Dave, this is your pick. And it's funny you mentioned Michael Jackson, but we'll talk about that later. However, we're going back to 1986, a movie that I absolutely detested as a kid and never saw. Just really, it was mainly because of the fucking cover of having David Bowie on it. But anyway, we're going back to 1986. I know this is a bit of a favourite of yours. This one is Labyrinth, which was directed by Jim Henson and George Lucas as executive producer, starring David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. So, Dave, tell me about the history of this movie.
So I don't remember the first time I saw it. I just remember it sort of always being there, and which is dumb, right? Because it wouldn't have. I must have watched it for the first time at some point. But the backstory to this is probably when I was even younger with the Muppets and Dark Crystal, which has links to this movie as well. Obviously, Henson and Terry Jones, I think, was involved in that. And I just love everything Muppets. And so when this came out, it was just another kind of extension on that Muppets obsession. Now, I don't, even now, Chris, I fucking love the Muppets stuff. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just our generation, really, isn't it? Because the kids aren't really asked about Muppets. They've got so many other things like animated shows and stuff that they can watch, and like the special effects are so much better. So it's just one of those things for us, I think, the obsession with the Muppets. But yeah, I just remember always kind of liking this one. And I think I might have mentioned it not last week. Well, for the podcast, it's last week. I mentioned about, I think I was playing computer games, probably on the Commodore 64 or something with a mate of mine. It's like, I fancy watching a movie. Do you want to watch that Labyrinth? And he's like, nah, it's a girl's film. I'm like, fuck you, buddy. fuck off. So I'm like, I fucking love this movie. And in hindsight, it was probably a little bit of truth to that, but I don't fucking care. I still absolutely love it. I have to say, when I'm watching it as a film in the kind of 80s, and I watched this one on off over the years, when I'm watching it now, there are themes that I didn't pick up on as a young child, Chris, that I'm sure we will get into, that I just think are a bit fucking weird. But anyway, I mean, how about yourself? Apart from, had you even seen it before? You said you hated the cover, but had you caught clips of it, trailers or anything?
Yeah, so you know what? I had caught bits of it, and I will say that I know of reading the trivia, which is just mind blowing. Actually, the fact that this was filmed at the same time and the same next to when they did Legend. You know, like I remember that one.
Yeah.
But it was one of the movies that I used to see David Bowie. You see the trailer and used to think, this looks fucking shit. I'm not watching this. I really, it's not my sort of thing. The fantasy stuff is just not for me. And it just, there's no bone in my body would have made, thinking about this week, would have made me watch this movie at all. There's just, if I had a free pass and my granddad and they're gone, right, you can pick 4 movies for this weekend, Dave, there is not a chance. If there was only 4 movies on the shelf and that was one of them, I wouldn't have picked it. Not because I don't know if it was a good or a bad film. It's just not in my wheelhouse. But it was just seeing David Bowie dressed like he was from the fucking set of Dallas or something. It used to piss me off. And I used to see the fucking front cover and I used to think, no, this is nothing. This is just not for me. So, yeah, we're going to talk about it. And I think it's a weird film because, like, it is basically the Muppets stroke Fraggle Rock, really. And I didn't realise that. And I used to like Fraggle Rock and that. So maybe I was doing it a disservice. Maybe if I'd watched it nearly 40 years ago, I may have enjoyed it. I may have got it. It's sort of like a Saturday afternoon movie, isn't it? Where when we were younger, you'd have it on ITV or BBC or a bank holiday movie where it would be on and you'd watch it because it was like James Bond coming up or Star Wars was coming up or whatever, you know, like Indiana Jones or whatever. There was always them sort of movies, but this would be the sort of movie that would be on in the early afternoon or early morning. So I get it. I do understand it. And like I say, I love Fraggle Rock when I was a kid. Muppet Babies, Muppets, I loved. So it wouldn't have been something I'd completely hated, but I think because it had that fantasy element, it just wasn't for me, and that's probably why I avoided it more than anything. I would rather, as you know, I'd rather watch the martial arts fucking movie than this.
I'm not sure you hate all fantasy movies.
Well, it's like my sci-fi hate, Dave. There is anomalies, obviously. There is anomalies. The fact that most of my greatest films are sci-fi movies, but that's not the point.
I was thinking more like Red Shoe Diaries or something. But,
anyway,
Chris, should we get into the trailer?
Let's go.
You have 13 hours in which to solve the labyrinth before your baby brother becomes one of us forever.
Life can be easy. It's not always well. Don't tell me truth hurts, little girl, 'cause it hurts like hell. But down in the underground, you'll find someone true. Down in the underground,
Magic of Jim Henson. The wizardry of George Lucas. Labyrinth.
While in the park with her dog Merlin, Sarah recites from the book titled The Labyrinth, but is unable to remember the last line. Realizing that she is late to babysit her infant brother Toby, she rushes home and is confronted by her stepmother, who leaves for dinner with Sarah's father. Frustrated that Toby was given her treasured teddy bear Lancelot, and by his constant crying, Sarah rashly wishes that Toby be taken away by the goblins from her book. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, Dave, this movie runs for about 101 minutes, and I've got to say, I am so pleased that he gets into the story straight away, Dave, because that means it's not on for 2 hours. Right, so that's a positive. The next question is, Dave, there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment about Hollywood and, all this thing with P. Diddy, and I've gone down rabbit holes reading up on different things that have happened. And I find this movie really uncomfortable watching this now. I've got, not just because I'm going to shit on it and go back, I just feel I'm watching it, and this is just my opinion, but I really feel sorry for Jennifer Connelly. I just feel as if it's never come out or anything, just like there's something not right about this movie at all. And it just doesn't sit well with me at all, this movie. I think it's aged really badly, and fuck me, David Bowie, Jesus Christ, he's like a fucking Dick Van Dyke in it, even though he is a fucking Londoner and everything. He's fucking, the acting is terrible. He is awful in this movie. But I do, the pretense of like the way the baby gets taken, let's be honest, Dave, I think the baby gets treated better by fucking David Bowie than he does by Jennifer Connelly. She's a terrible fucking babysitter. She's like spoiled brat, isn't she? She's slating the kid. When fucking Bowie has the kid, he's fucking like looking after it, they're holding it correctly. Like Jennifer Connelly's just
throwing it around
as a dad, just throwing it around. And probably most of the listeners, there's a way of holding babies and consoling them. And I know it's for the movie, but really, she just comes across as a right spoiled little brat, doesn't she? She's just jealous of like the kid getting all the attention from her dad. And I'm like, well, fuck it. Take the kid. You're going to get looked after better than you anyway, Sarah. So, yeah, I don't think she's really, at the start, very likable character. But then it does do that whole Muppet thing and these different little callbacks, which I can totally relate to and I get it. But yeah, the pretense of this movie is just fucking weird for me, Dave. This is like a fucking pedo's fucking wet dream or something. It is fucking terrible.
Pedo's paradise.
I'm telling you, it's fucking terrible.
So we're going straight there, are we? So yeah, I'm watching it now, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a bit uncomfortable. Like cards on the table, I still love the movie, right? But those themes that you're scratching on there, I'm like, yeah, there's something wrong about this. And obviously, when you're just watching a film over and over the years, it's this project, isn't it? The VHS Strikes Back, and it forces us to, not it forces us to, but, we want to learn a little bit more around the movie, how much did it cost, how much did it make, what was the story that brought it to, being signed off for production and all of that stuff. And the fact that they were looking for, before they settled on Bowie, they wanted a kind of a pop star, a rock star. So people who were in the running, Michael Jackson, funnily enough, after your starring appearance there for a couple of lines, Prince and Mick Jagger, and actually Sting as well, who's Jim Henson's favourite, apparently. But, they ended up going with Bowie. So I'm like, okay, there is a rock star, or let's say middle-aged rock star theme to this. Now, Jennifer Connelly was born in 1970, but it was in December. So at the time of shooting this movie, she was 15 / could have even been 14 at this point when they were shooting certain scenes. And it's like, oh yeah, this is fucking wrong. And again, I'm like watching it as a kid, and I've got those kid-like nostalgia feelings, and it's like, oh, it's a fucking Muppets, and like, oh, Ambrosius, like the dog, and all these like things, and Ludo, and it's great. But watching it this time, I'm like, she's fucking 15. Bowie's about 39 when this is shot, and I'm like, this is fucking wrong. Again, all the romantic kind of themes to it, I was just oblivious to all of it. And I have watched this movie as an adult as well. I don't know if you just, because we're looking at it from a deeper perspective, it's quite in your face, isn't it? And so, yeah, a bit uncomfortable watching it this time, I must admit.
Yeah, and you know what, Dave? At first, I go with it. So you go with like the whole pretense. She's in this labyrinth. It's a maze. She's got like little side quests to do. All the characters she meets, you can see they're going to become part of a team. The one that's consistently saying he has no courage and all that sort of thing. He's a coward. And I get it. And I get like, is that him? Yeah, him as well. Yeah. I get that. I do
like
get
the
it.
little worm, like little cockney worm. Oh, come in, have a cup of tea.
Yeah, great, Dave. There's a lot of English. There's a lot of English actors and actresses in this, isn't there, doing the voices? But I do think
a lot of it was shot at Elstree Studios.
I thought that. I thought it's obviously a UK production. But I with you. So at first, I'm not even thinking about like Jennifer Connelly, David Bowie's character. I'm just thinking like he's this weird thing. There was a weird bit where he's got the baby and he's like, yes, this baby will be mine. And I'm like, this is just fucking bizarre. But, we'll go with it. It's as the story progresses and like every turn she seems to be able to get through. There's not really an answer why this has happened. She's just because she's read a book and these goblins are there in the fucking mirror or whatever they are. And they take the baby and I can go with it. I can go with the fantasy side of it. I can go with this sort of, it's like a video game, really, isn't it? It's almost like Dungeons and Dragons in some respect. Finding a way to the base to find a way home.
Bit Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, same scenario, yeah, but not as nice, I don't think. But then I reckon if you watched Alice in Wonderland now, you'd be like, holy shit, this is fucking really bad. It's like Wizard of Oz, all the stuff happened to Judy Garland on the set of Wizard of Oz. He's fucking terrible, but and we played the slot when we were in Vegas, and you're looking at some of the characters on the fucking slots because Sam loved the film, and I'm like, this is fucking creepy as fuck. This is weird. This is like Hollywood doing, and I think that's what it is. I think we're becoming more aware as a society, quite rightly, like the manipulation in Hollywood of actors and actresses. There's this massive thing with P. Diddy and alleged stuff with Justin Bieber. There's all these other people. They reckon that these people as high as ex-presidents, Dave, involved in P. Diddy's freak-off parties. These videos, he's got cameras, he's got all sorts. They reckon there's going to be loads of people implemented in this story and this whole fucking debauchery in Hollywood. The fucking weirdo cult that is Hollywood and that celeb life. But I don't know. That's what it sounds so bad to say this, but it just feels as if like poor Jennifer Connelly's got a bad rap with this movie and she's used as a weapon for someone else above, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying anything's happened, but just the whole thing is wrong. And that bit with Bowie at the dance thing, at that point, I was like, I didn't even twig about this, the age thing. And at that point, I was like, oh shit, they're going there. It's almost like a love story. What the fuck's going on? They've done a hair up and make her look a little bit older and all that. And there's Bowie there, fucking doing his Dick Van Dyke. All right there, mate. He's doing all these fucking. He's acting. He's not really acting the voice. It's just his natural voice.
He's not doing a Dick Van Dyke. Oh, I think you'll find, Chris. He's got a very Bowie.
He has actually.
His voice.
Yeah. But when he's pretty good that day. But when he was doing all the dance stuff, and as soon as the musical stuff started, I'm like, I'm fucking out here. This is fucking bobbins. I am out.
Let's drill into that bit, because that bit in particular, right? So what makes it feel weird? And we've got like fucking George Lucas as executive producer on this thing again. Remember George Lucas and Steven Spielberg? Remember when we were talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark and the whole romance thing? And it was like, oh yeah, well this implied romance with Indy, and I can't remember what the character's name was now, but when he was a lecturer at school or whatever, if she's younger or if she's 15, it's not interesting enough, or it was something like that, wasn't it? So you got George Lucas in the picture again. He's wanting a rock star, and you got Jennifer Connelly, who, like I say, I think she's 15 when a lot of this is shot, I'm sure, because all of the effects and stuff, they wouldn't have been able to get it out that quickly in 86. They would have had to have shot some of this stuff in 85. And it's just fucking weird. And that bit where they go into the masquerade ball type of thing, well, Connelly or Sarah is fucking drugged. She takes the fucking bite from the apple. She's fucking roofied. She's out of it. And then you have this sort of romantic masquerade ball dance. And I'm like, is this a fucking fantasy parallel sort of suggestive thing, like he's fucking raped her or something like that? You know, is this...
Yeah.
What's the phrase? Like, is this her becoming a woman? Is this her transitioning from being a child and becoming a woman? And I'm like, this is fucking weird. As a kid, I just hated this bit. I just didn't get it. Like, fucking, you know, if I could be arse fast forwarding it, I would. But again, you're watching it now, and I want to say, is it the cynical side, or is it just like fucking waking up to like, oh shit, you know? Because what is the reason for putting that scene in other than what I've just said? It's like she's fucking drugged, and then they have this fucking it's like a romantic dance, but you've got all the people with the masks, and it's actually quite haunting and creepy. So yeah, it's fucking, yeah, definitely that scene in particular. I watched it very differently this time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's bizarre, isn't it? Like the whole thing is like, this just is so... This, I don't think this would get shown. I mean, saying that, look at Rita Sue and Bob 2. It's like you'd so many people go, what a classic movie. The guy's a fucking nonce. He's outside the fucking school while they're playing netball or whatever. Basically,
tennis when
tennis what they're doing. He's fucking there.
Having a tennis lesson.
Yeah, a fucking middle-aged bloke takes one of them off and he shags them both. But it's a classic, and I still don't understand how it was acceptable. You know, like how now that movie's not just been banished as like, we get it. It was a classic, but when you look at the undertone of it, basically, he's a fucking pedo, isn't he? And you're going down for a 5 stretch in real life.
Only 5? I mean, so we've talked about it many times, so we've not mentioned him, but the old fucking Jimmy Savile, right? You watch old footage, I'm sure we've talked about it. Like, what were people doing? How the fuck did no one call this out? It's not like he was some sort of mastermind. It is there in plain fucking sight. And, no one did anything. And I don't get it. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know if it's a respect for authority thing, and maybe people just didn't want to call out authority, or just thought that, it wasn't their place or whatever. But yeah, it is weird when you look back now and you're like, fucking hell, that's so blatantly wrong, and no one said anything.
Well, it's one of them though, Dave. If someone did speak up, he's got direct links, hasn't he, to the police, the fucking royal family.
Fucking Thatcher, may you burn in hell.
Yeah, exactly. Witch. Exactly. The royal family he vouched for the family, did he, and everything. It's like he could have used all that power. He probably had loads of dirt on them all. He facilitated all. When you watch that thing, it's fucking terrible. But it's also one of them where you're thinking, everyone now is like, come out. I mean, I know I've seen it a few times, but one of the things is a girl rings up fucking, Jim will fix it. And it's that whole thing where Jim will fix it, says, right, now let's welcome someone who's a bit shy himself, Gary Glitter. And you're like, what the fuck? And it's like 2 massive fucking pedos in plain sight, but nobody had the bottle or the understanding that it was wrong. That's the problem. I mean, it was accepted, wasn't it? Look at all the BBC presenters. Even now, that Hugh Edwards, fuck me, that is a disgrace. And that fucker's still going to get a pension from the BBC. It's like, come on. And he blamed it on the fact, he's still going to get a pension. And he's blamed it on stress. The fact something about he didn't go to university or some bullshit fucking excuse was one of the reasons he didn't get jailed. And it's like, no, this is because he's probably got dirt on I don't know how many fucking people. And he was the main presenter. But yeah, he's going to get a BBC pension, that fucker. It's like, what? I mean, this is completely took a segue from what we should be talking about. But the world we live in is
maybe he doesn't sweat. Is the thing.
Well, yeah, obviously, Dave. Yeah, obviously, yeah, allegedly.
Anyway, but apart from that implied, roofie,
Yeah.
Apart from that, I'm still very much enjoying watching this movie, Chris. I'm loving the different characters. I have to say, I love the little dog, Sir whatever his name is, the posh little English guy who jumps on the Dulux dog and stuff. And there's so many pop culture things in here, like the Bog of Eternal Stench. People sort of remember that, and I think that there's a lot to like about the movie as well as the unsavory things that we spoke about, and the fact that Jennifer Connelly, we did what was it? I want to say Cruel Intentions.
The supermarket
career opportunities, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's where you can appreciate Jennifer Connelly's performance more. But the fact that she stayed around in Hollywood and stuff, I'm kind of thinking, I don't think anything would have happened on this set. It's more just the implied stuff. They're telling the story through a fantasy lens, but like again, you sort of scratch beneath the surface and you're like, fucking hell, what is in the heads of the people who write this stuff? But yeah, I'm still liking all the characters, all the fantasy characters, the Muppets, sort of puppets or whatever you want to call them. But the ones who always scared the shit out of me are the ones who pull their heads off and they do this little dance, and it looks a bit weird at one point, but I thought they were incredibly creepy. And then when they're trying to pull her head off, did you think that at all, or is it just maybe a nostalgia piece for me? It was more creepy when you're watching it as a kid, and that's followed me through adulthood.
No, I think that one of the bits you say that, which is creepy. I think the hand bit where she falls down the thing and the hands are doing that talking
gropey
thing.
as fuck.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I must admit, I was sort of watching where all the hands were. Yeah. I know it sounds really bad, but that's when I just felt the whole thing was just so uncomfortable watching it. I mean, they had like Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson was going to play, I think it's Sting. But yeah, I don't know that bit with the hands. I thought it was very clever, but the fact that this kid is there with all these fucking blokes' hands, I was like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with this at all.
So 15, 16-year-old Jennifer Connelly is fucking wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, sorry to take us down a rabbit hole of like thingy, but I think watching it now, it is really not aged well at all. It's really poor, I think. I mean, the effects are good. Like you can't knock the Muppets. Jim Henson, absolute legend. Like that sort of stuff is brilliant. But I just can't get over watching it, thinking this. I mean, my toes were curling watching it, I must admit. I'm literally every scene. I was like, "Oh, there's some weird shit going on here." That we only realise this years later that they're telling the audience a completely different story to what's actually going on.
Well, I think obviously it's one of these. Watching it now for the first time, it's a different experience for you. I still like the way the story played out. Again, it's very Alice in Wonderland at the start. Things aren't the way they seem. She walks through the wall initially after she's spoken to the worm. She has, the various doors that she's got to go through, and that she meets Ludo on the way and Hoggle and all of that. I think where it definitely goes off on one is, we talked about the roofie, but at the end, or getting towards the end, when I think the romance side of it is not really played up. I didn't know how to interpret the whole masquerade ball when I was younger, so it's just like a boring bit for me, and just we'll skip past that. But Jareth doesn't show his hand until later on. But the bit that kind of it hits me like an electric shock, if I'm honest, is where he says, "Just love me." Oh no, it says, "Just fear me, love me, do as I say, and I will be your slave." And I'm like,
that's brilliant.
Thanks, I've been working on it all week. Oh, you've been away for 2 weeks. I haven't. He just has a very interesting drawl to his voice. But fear me, love me, and I'll be your slave. What the fuck are you talking about, Jared? Where did this come from? And then it's really, he's going over the top, isn't he? You know, he's really laying it out there for fucking 15-year-old Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing he said, is it? Nothing he said. It's just bizarre. I love that action. You do it again, Dave. Do it again. Fucking love that. Fucking really good.
I will be your slave.
Well, Dave, if we're throwing them all out there, you know what I've missed for a few weeks? You've got to throw fucking Bane out there. Come on. I haven't heard Bane for a while, Dave.
Should I do the same line?
Go on.
Just feel me. Love me. Do as I say. And I will be your slave.
I can't do it. I'll just do Christian Bale. Fucking brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Honestly, fucking accents. You are good at them accents. I've got the Bale one a little bit, but you're far superior at doing accents than I am. Fucking
but
brilliant.
She does. You know what's weird as well? We don't get. You mentioned Wizard of Oz. We don't get a kind of a wrap up at the end where it's all a dream. You know, it does seem like this is kind of reality, and I know they're trying to play up the whole wicked stepmother thing. But as you say, there's no real indication of, well, is this just something, because she's been reading the book and maybe she was a bit annoyed at you know, having the baby screaming, which, let's face it, that's what they do. I don't know. It seems like, it was real, and then she's back at home and everything at the end, because she remembers the final line from a book, you know, you have no power over me. And again, it's kind of like it's a weird, abusive, toxic relationship, isn't it? I think the implication to a lot of this stuff. But she's back at home, but then we get that sort of happy ending where all the Muppet friends are kind of there, all the Goblin friends and everything, and they have a bit of a party, but Jared's outside like an owl or something. So again, like, I'm not sure what the subtext to all of this is. But yeah, any thoughts on the ending there, Chris?
No, I think you're right. I think I was expecting her to wake up in the bed, you know, the baby, or the baby starts screaming or something and crying, and then it is a dream. The parents come back from this night out, but it isn't, is it? It all goes full like Muppets stroke Fraggle Rock, and they have a bit of a dance off, don't they, with all the things like, oh, I'll always be there for you. I mean, Bowie ends up being a fucking owl, which apparently, Dave, to be fair, first ever CGI character in the movie. So that has got its animal anyway. That has got it claim to fame without a doubt. Yeah, there's no payoff. I think you're right. There's no like sort of, it was all a dream. It is literally like she can go, and whether they were trying to set up a sequel, I don't know. But I'm with you. I didn't feel satisfied at all watching this movie. But at the end, the usual tropes weren't there, and maybe that's what they were going for. But I didn't think it was delivered very well. It was just sort of like, yeah, this is actually a real world. There was no, you know, sort of subtext of having a dream, a nightmare, whatever, you know, I don't know. Even Freddy Krueger, Dave, had fucking bits where you were like, is this real or not? I don't know. I don't feel that there's a reason that it only made 11 million. It was 34 million that they made, didn't it? It was off 25 million budget, but it's not really renowned as an absolute classic fantasy movie, is it, from the 80s? Not really.
I think a lot of people do treat it as a classic. It didn't do very well at the box office, but I think it was a bit of a home video sort of hit, if you like. Certainly for people like me. But anyway, Chris, I'm fearing for one of my childhood favourites. But should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So, Dave, you don't have to fear anything about this movie, because I'm going to put it where exactly it needs to be, Dave. It's going to Alderaan, never to be seen again. Bastard. It's fucking rubbish. It is an absolute fucking Operation U-Tree, fucking wet dream. It's really bad. I can't get past this. Like that scene with Bowie, and I'm not having a dig at Bowie, and I mean, maybe he should have said something, but fucking hell. that is wrong. Completely wrong, that. Like, they literally changed it from a school kid to someone that he obviously wants to have a bit with. And I'm like, this is fucking really... And I didn't even see it coming. I said it before, I didn't see it coming. It's just got too many fucking undertones of like, there's more to this than meets the eye. Like, there really is. There's another story being told that we're not aware of. It's only as you get older, you're like, oh, this is fucking wrong. So I've got to send it there, Dave. I will never watch this again. Even with Bowie's fucking accent, which I've got to say, the highlight of the whole watching and recording is you doing the impression, because I think that's a pretty good impression. And then throwing the BAME on in there. But yeah, for me, this is terrible, and I will never watch this thing ever again. Absolutely shocking. So what about yourself?
A dagger to my heart, Chris.
There's a star, man.
So I was sort of half expecting it. You know, we've talked about all the various things wrong with it. Probably over-indexed maybe a little bit on that, you know, but I can't help it, Chris. I still love this movie. I still enjoy the whole journey that she goes on. Yeah, watching it now, I'm like, oof, like you say, there's a subtext here that I've never seen before, and I'm more aware of now. And I can't help it. It's Pleasantville for me. I fucking love it. Maybe if I watch it a few more times and then it starts to scratch on that scab of, you know, okay, there's something very, very wrong about this, maybe that'll change it. My opinion eventually, but you know, like I say, dagger to my heart that you've put it to Alderaan, but not really, because you know what, made you fucking watch it, didn't I?
No need for that. There's fucking no need for that. And I give you Cage 2 last week as well. Fucking horrendous, right?
Oh, I'm having a good month.
Fucking ridiculous. Well, I've noticed on the calendar that my next pick is just before my birthday, Dave, on the 20th of November. So I will have something up my... And I've got Christmas Day in the back pocket. Don't you worry about that. I cannot wait to reveal that one. That is going to be an absolute
it might be roles
classic.
reversed, because I have got a fucking classic for the New Year's Day one. And a genuine classic. I don't mean like some martial arts, like 1970s Hong Kong extravaganza. I mean an actual cinematic classic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you keep that in your back pocket, Dave, because I've not. Don't you worry about that. So next week is the legend that is Blake's pick, Dave, a great friend, Patreon, supporter of the podcast. An all-round nice guy with the greatest mullet I've actually seen in person, Dave. I've got to say,
absolutely.
Blake has got great hair. So great guy, Blake. But he has picked a movie, Dave, from 1993 that has a Rotten Tomato rating of 17%. So I'm all for this, Dave. So we are going back to 93. This one is a comedy thriller called Fatal Instinct. So let's get into the trailer.
Stop! Steve! Hey!
Ned Ravine.
Police emergency, I need a vehicle.
A cop who plays
Rico
by the
from
rules.
Judge Dredd.
There's the right to remain silent. Next, wave that right
You know,
hand.
we haven't done Naked Gun.
I keep thinking about Naked Gun. Honestly, I do.
A woman who plays by her own rules.
What are they?
I've seen this once, and I'll be honest with you.
You're the first one
I think that's probably a reason.
Well, I feel like
I've never seen this at all. Going for all the highbrow jokes.
This is so
I
different.
think the problem is, around this time, you just had all these Naked Gun spin-off types, didn't you?
Yeah, Hot Shots, everything.
And I'm married to
Oh, Hot Shots was
a
great.
wonderful woman.
Yeah, well, Hot Shots was good.
Sort of like a cat.
It's not enough like a cat, Ned.
Did you ever consider that maybe you don't know women as well as you think you do?
MGM presents Armand Asante.
You stay away from my wife, my life, and my skunk.
No!
Sherilyn Fenn.
Oh my god.
Kit Nelligan. And Sean Young.
I tell you what though, Chris, maybe not in 93, but earlier on, I'm sure, we're getting a bit of the Three Stooges there.
Where one night of love
I would have liked this
can be fatal.
The trailer, though, is not doing it any favors.
Yeah, you guys watch your step. There's a lot of blood in here.
It's a killer comedy. Directed by Carl Reiner.
It's like Naked Gun without the laugh. My God. Oh, my God.
That looks
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Blake's, I'm already going to say it. He's already done us, Dave. But anyway.
His revenge for Cloud Atlas still.
That was you, that Dave. Anyway, big thank you to everyone. If you want to email us to vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHSStrikesBack. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So the roll call of honor and a massive thank you to Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Stephen, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Kent, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys, for your support. Amazing stuff. Blake, I'm going to just reserve judgment till next week, Dave, but that's all I'm going to say.
Well, Chris, I'm not going to say I was completely ignorant to the themes that we talked about, and I thought, well, Chris coming in watching this for the first time with a more cynical, older head on him than, if he'd have watched this as a kid, I think I know which way this conversation is going to go. So if you imagine for this song, I've leaned a bit on the rock element, in the last few weeks. So I thought I'd step away from that. Obviously, we've got Bowie in this movie, and, music plays quite a prominent role. So I've gone for more of kind of an 80s pop. But if you can imagine, something like a bit Human League or Bowie or something like that with Meatloaf in the background, just have that picture in your head.
The goblins with a labyrinth to rule, but Sarah's just focused on getting through school. He's got the glam and the codpiece that's tight, but Sarah's 16 and something's not right. You'd recalling you. Just a village goblin king trying to seduce. Set up the Virginia road. She's trying to solve the maze. Her brother disappeared while Jareth is pushing a romance that's weird. Those spandex tights really aren't very thick. He's trying to show off that he's got a big castle. Just a middle-aged goblin king trying to seduce.
So there you go, Chris.
Tremendous. Fucking tremendous again. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that one came together quite nicely. And like I say, the Meatloaf, or the guy who used to do the Budweiser adverts, just a middle-aged Goblin King. I had a lot of fun putting that one together, and I thought it would be mentioned. I thought you would destroy my beloved film, but there we go. But next week, Chris, something very, very different. A bit of a slapstick comedy there. But for today, despite shitting all over my childhood memories, thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back. That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off. Get to the chopper! One ring to go. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I see you at 6.